to another edition of Brownsville As Is,
with A for Shauna.
S for Sonia. Today we're here at the Denmark Presbyterian Church with a very special guest.
Yes, Mr. Billy King. You know, Mr. Billy has so much knowledge and he's such a wonderful storyteller of the history, not only of this church, but of this entire community, a once very vibrant, very thriving, and yet still is, with so much that's going on here in the Denmark area.
And so many tie-ins to Brownsville and the surrounding area.
I think we should go and listen a little bit at Mr. King. What do you think? Let's go hear Mr. Billy.
I love it.
Come on and go with us.
We stay in a 10-mile radius around Denmark. We rarely ever get out of that because there's just so much history in that 10-mile radius to put on our Facebook. Our Facebook page is Big Black Creek Historical, and it averages more views than the City of Jackson's Facebook page. Some weeks it'll average over 2,000 views for the Big Black Creek. So go see that. You'll see a lot of the history. And then our website is Big Black Creek Historical. It's ranked right now in America on Google, Yahoo, and MSN, all three, as a top historical site. So that's a good place to go. It changes all the time. It deals with history almost exclusively. So if you're looking for the history, you can certainly see it there. When the surveyors came in 1818, and that is when Andrew signed the treaty with the Chickasaws for West Tennessee, they came in, they found a squatter living at this spot. Everybody here prior to 1818 were squatters, really, because the land belonged to the Chickasaws. And so the surveyors asked him what the name was, if there was any name, and he told them Denmark, that it was two separate words, and the Chickasaws named it, and it was because their animal dens were in the area, and it was their hunting ground, actually. When the settlement started, really the Hebert brothers had a settlement already down here on the Big Black Creek in conjunction with the Chickasaws. And so as the little town began to develop, they moved that operation here and became extremely wealthy, actually, in their trading posts, because that's what it was. It's hard for us to grasp that this was the frontier. That when you got to Denmark, you were on the frontier, actually, because we don't see it that way. And it's, like I said, it's hard for us to visualize that. One of the biggest saloons built in West Tennessee was across the street, and the church here now. Very elaborate operation. So that would tell you that it was a frontier town. People were coming. There were two hotels built here. The McBride's on one of those, and the Meriwether's the other. So the stagecoach stop was here, and it was, like I said, the route to Memphis. It began building up and began having stores built across the road from the church. At one time, there were 17 mercantile companies in a row there. The post office was established in 1820, making it the oldest continuing operating post office in West Tennessee. And so there was an establishment of people coming in, and then after 1818, land grants were being given. And so at one point, over 300 families came in on the wagon train, and they were coming to land grants, and many of them were Haywood County. The old Tabernacle Methodist Church, they come on that wagon train is what they did, and established Tabernacle. So this community, and really the Brownsville community, were always connected, not the town itself, but the community itself, as far as that's concerned. Because our, quote, Methodists really went from here to Old Tabernacle is what they did. And of course, I know you realize this, that's one of the last campgrounds left in America, happens at Tabernacle, and still does. It's still a very active situation. Exactly. That's where my Kings are buried. My great-grandparents on the King side are at Tabernacle. That's where they came in that first wagon train. Denmark flourished, and there's some story that it was supposed to be the county seat of Madison County, and it missed the vote by one vote, actually, or this would be the county seat of Madison County. The little town died through the years. The cyclone came in 1909, and it destroyed a great portion of it. Several people were killed in that. It didn't really rebuild after that. And then by that time, Jackson and Memphis were coming up as towns, and they rebuilt. That's what they did. So it is the oldest town in West Tennessee. That's what it is.
Tell us a little bit about the history of the building.
All right. The building was built, this particular building, in 1854. But we think maybe this may be the third building of the congregation. The congregation actually dates back to 1823, making it one of the oldest Presbyterian congregations in West Tennessee. Jackson really didn't exist, nor did Brownsville or Memphis, and Denmark was the center of activity actually. And it was a town. It was larger than Memphis or Jackson, either one, when it got up and going. And the original building was over by the cemetery, and it was a one-room log structure is what it actually was. And it was used by the Presbyterians, the Baptists, and the Methodists, all three. They met on different Sundays. And what really happened, the Baptists showed up on a Sunday that was supposed to be the Presbyterians. And it upset the Presbyterians, and so they decided to build their own building. It was often referred to as Jonah's Gourd because it came up in 1 week. Actually, they built it in a week. This church is a mother church of the Presbyterians of West Tennessee. So First Presbyterian of Jackson, Brownsville, and Memphis, all three came from here. We restored this building. This building, we've invested almost $500,000 in this structure. It is hand-hewn lumber, of course, and built on site, hand-hewn on site. When we got to the peak of this building, we found one of the pieces of clapboard, and one of the carpenters had scratched in the piece, built in 1854, and it was on the very top piece of clapboard, so it lets us know exactly when the building was constructed, actually. Windows on the west side and the back. They are original to the building. When we really began the construction, the windows were in terrible condition, and they were like those over on the east side of the building. We knew those were not original. And upstairs, we found these window sashes stacked back in the corner and realized that they were the original windows to the church. So really, the community, young people, came and we met in here. No pews were in here at the time. And they restored that and reputted those windows. Many of them are hand-blown glass, but the church has had a very, very long history. Ironically, in 1909, a cyclone hit Denmark, and it destroyed the Baptist church and the Methodists. Both of them were destroyed. This was the only one left standing, and they all three went back to worshiping in the same building. See, we're beginning another major project. We needed really $26,000 to do all of the work on the building. And that was even to put a fire escape in the back for the Masonic Lodge. It's upstairs, and it has reactivated. It is the second oldest Masonic Lodge in West Tennessee, established in 1823. And they have reorganized and are meeting on a regular basis. It doesn't have heating air up there, and that's a part of that. And then put in another fire escape because only we have the front steps. And we certainly want people to know this. We have to have a lift because this building is about 40 foot tall. And the Caterpillar place up here in Jackson has sent a lift at no cost to us, and for us to keep the lift until the project is done. So we're thankful for that. And that happens every day to us, if some major contribution will come in to us. Southwest Electric just gave us $5,000 to help on the deal, so we're appreciative of that also. And
Last thing, talk to us about your hymnal singing.
okay, that's the most fun we have, I think. The Horace Simmons, who at that time was the pianist at First Baptist of Bemis, and is an outstanding musician, was going to come down to the Mercer Baptist and play at the homecoming service with me. We're going to play together. And Horace came down early that morning, and we're just sitting there talking, and he said, "Do you remember the Redback hymnal?" I said, "I do, Horace." And I said, "Horace, I've got 2 brand new ones over there on the organ," and told him where I got them from. And I said, it's a phenomenon. It's happening all over America. And I said, some of them are drawing crowds of 3,000 and 4,000 and 5,000 people to sing. So he said, we ought to have one. And I said, I agree. So we started the planning it. Our problem was getting someone who could lead the shaped notes, because no churches do that anymore. And even to find an old shaped notes hymnal is very difficult. And so I went really on the internet, Facebook, and told what we were doing and asked for help. Then I got an answer from who was at that time president of the Tennessee Gospel Hymn Association, young guy. And he said, I'll be happy to help you. And I said, son, it ain't help us, it's come do it. He said, we can't do it. Well, Esther from Jackson State got wind of it. She wanted to bring the choir because she knew those young people had never seen that in their lives. We packed the building. We've been doing that now for almost 5 years. We do 2 a year. We were scheduled to do one, but since the virus stopped, because our congregation is here, I would say 75% are over 65, and we didn't want to create any problems. So we've reset that for early spring is what we've done. But it has been one of the best things we've ever done, I guess. It's the most fun thing we've ever done because people have not sung those old hymns for years and years and years. And the whole book is just old hymns, is what it is. And that's all we do is sing. We don't have anything else. But yeah, that's the Redback hymn sing. Big Black Creek's Redback.
Well, Sonia.
Mr. Billy is one of my favorite people.
I know. There's such a sweet spirit here. There's just something about it, and even listening at him tell the story of, and share the significance of this place in our history. It's just, I don't have words for it.
It's a very special place, and I've had the honor of being here on several occasions for the Redback hymnal sing, for other occasions, and it's indescribable. The Holy Spirit, as Mr. Billy says, definitely lives here.
I certainly believe that. I love the piano here. It's just something, I have a few places that are my favorite places to sing. This has become one of them.
Would you do that for us?
I'd be honored to do it.
Thank you.
All right.
See y'all next time.
Bye.